As the Black Eyed Peas said after they realized they made a very cursed track and they went to re-record, let's get it started.
Wait, hold on, Jake. I know you just said we need to keep it quick.
Yeah.
Matt full on took a swig of Lucky Buddha beer and burped into his microphone.
Look, he's been on one.
He's okay. Here's the thing. Matt's usually the one that holds together our chaos, Jake.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that he's coming into this one tipsy when I feel like we're both sober. I know that I am.
I haven't drank yet, but I will do another round.
Well,
Are we gonna get drunk this finale?
I'm just saying, a little bit of Lucky Buddha beer with the evening, wearing my skeletons drinking beer t-shirt.
I love that. I was with you when you got that t-shirt.
You were. Yeah, so let's get it started in here, as Jake said.
Yeah, I said such a good joke, and you just burped in the middle of it. I'm actually really
just realized that this is episode 100, and I started it with burping into the fucking mic.
Woo! Wow. Yeah, put in some applause, some fake applause, Woo!
Yeah.
This guy stinks! All right, yeah.
Jake, should we get drunk right now?
I'll do a shot.
It's Sunday.
Yeah, but I'm unemployed.
I won't do a shot.
All right, I'm gonna do one. I'll be back. You guys, intro us.
Yeah. So, hello and welcome back. I don't know why I started it. I'm just gonna wait.
This episode is utter chaos. It's almost like we haven't been doing this for 100 episodes.
I decided I'm back. I don't know what I interrupted, and I apologize, but I feel like it's spiritual, comeuppance for Matthew interrupting me before. I have decided that I'm busting out something special for the 100th episode. I have in my hand a very cursed gift that was forced upon me in sour pickle vodka.
Jake, why?
Because I love you guys, and I love that we've done 100 episodes of this.
But, okay, you should celebrate with something good. Don't punish yourself.
No, well, come on. It's for the
Jake, what are you, a Catholic?
It's podcast for the
that
podcast.
Was a good joke, though.
Thanks, man.
Wait, what was the joke?
I said, what are you, a Catholic?
We've been doing good jokes, but we've been talking over them.
Zingers only this time, and only if we're talking over them.
Zingers that we can fix in post. That's
welcome to the Tough Cut Podcast. I'm Alex.
Whoa, no. I was letting Jake do his thing.
Okay,
no.
Off the record, we have 52 minutes.
We're good.
We have 49 now.
Yeah, we're good. Hello and welcome back. We're the Tough Cut Podcast, and I'm Matthew.
I'm still Alex. Jake is taking a shot.
I'm Jake.
And that was a...
Jakers. Sorry, I'm Jakers.
He did a pickleback all in one.
I think that, fermented.
Ew. That's disgusting. And today we are...
Farmers.
We're doing the finale to our Oscars bracket. Oscar season part 4.
Woo!
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We are talking Everything Everywhere All at Once versus Barbarian.
Who would have thought? Not me.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's what I'll say. Audience, we asked you, is there anything that we missed? Because before we get into the matchup, we've got to talk honorable mentions.
It's true. And sometimes y'all suck. But you guys gave I was actually very proud of the submissions that we have received. So shout out to the audience. I can't wait to get into them. Spoiler warning, both for the matchup and for just these ones coming up. We'll probably maybe be spoiling something in some of these movies, and they just came out last year. So very, very evident, very recent. Don't get them spoiled, or do. That pickle is really not settling well. I'm fighting for my life over here. So that's it for now. And then, yeah, boys, who wants to go first? Let's give one of ours. Let's be selfish. Matthew, I think you should take it away.
Okay.
Sure.
Wait, did you say you were going to go, Alex?
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm so sorry.
No, Matt can go.
I couldn't even see it, but the tone of your okay was like, oh shit, he totally said it.
Hey,
that's
again,
my bad.
Hopefully we'll fix it in post, because we got to come off as a team, guys.
We are a team.
100 episodes.
We're falling apart.
Literally at the seams.
What's that mean? Beth?
Yeah, so I am on record ostensibly having said that A movie I almost put in the bracket was All Quiet on the Western Front. I am a big fan of the original novel, and I thought the film adaptation did some nice twists to that. And unlike my other actual picks for the bracket, All Quiet on the Western Front did pretty well at the actual Oscars.
So good that you didn't pick it, because we don't want to celebrate that, am I right? Just kidding.
God, that'd be so
true.
cringe.
Imagine.
Could you imagine?
Ooh, imagine voting for the movie that has a bunch of Oscar wins instead of the little, darling shooting her way under the watchful eye of the Academy.
Yeah, no spoilers. But yeah, I mean, that's still one that I want
Spoilers
to see.
For what? The Oscars?
No, for our matchup at the end, you bastard. Whatever. Jesus. No, but that's still one I haven't seen. So, I feel like you've talked about it enough that I'm just going to have to wait for us to have a war movie bracket, and then we'll...
Honestly, I would kind of be feasting on a
war movie bracket. Could be good. It'd be sad.
Make you guys watch Seven Samurai again.
Hey, I'm pretty down for that.
Yeah, I mean, I love Seven Samurai.
Because people will be like, war movies, and they're going to expect you to put, I don't know, Hacksaw
like
Ridge
Angry Birds. Oh.
That is technically a war movie.
I know.
Honestly, I'm kind of talking myself into a war movie bracket.
I would pick The War with Grandpa.
Yeah, so Alex, what about you? What was one of your favorite films of the last year?
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple that I was pretty close to picking. One that I didn't pick for boring reasons is The Batman, which is a wonderful movie. I very much enjoyed it, but we talked about it a couple brackets ago. It was in the long movie bracket. That didn't stop Matt from doing RRR, but it stopped me.
Yeah, and you know what? One of us is a villain.
Yep, and
we'll
it's
never
Matthew.
tell you who.
Whoa!
Um,
I totally agree on the Batman front. I mean, it genuinely is a great movie. I think it was one of the better ones of last year. Definitely one of the most enjoyable ones I saw in the theater last year. And it did get snubbed for a bunch of stuff as well. I think that, I know that comic book movies, is a weird topic for people, especially like in theaters and all that. But I do think there are certain comic book movies that have showcased just how good the genre can be. And I think The Batman is definitely one of those movies. So I agree. Yeah. It's definitely one. And the audience agrees with you. The audience definitely said that multiple times.
Honorable mention, yeah. What I will say is the longer I've cooked on the Batman and kind of like sat and thought about it, I think the more I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not to say that I gave it an uncharitable view when we talked about it in the long bracket. I just think that, it's worth calling out that I feel like it's grown on me even more than the strong impression it originally gave, especially when you consider it to how stinky Marvel's been recently.
It's been so bad.
Wow, wow.
I mean, DC hasn't been better. Let's be completely honest.
Yeah, we're just saying the Batman specifically.
Yeah.
Because
let's not
Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Black Adam,
#1 movies in the world.
Wow.
There's not like a metric. Movies just get to say that, it seems like.
I mean, some movies get to say that. I feel like if you're like Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, I don't think they're saying that. No judgment to Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris.
Honestly, ambitious marketing ploy if Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris tried it,
With the #1 movie. Do they buy an ad after the Super Bowl? They're just like...
Imagine if it was like... you have to get it on some kind of technicality, so it's like the #1 movie in Wichita, Kansas.
And it's because your lead producers from Wichita, they have their families watching it over and over. Yeah, that's fine with me.
A good bit.
One of mine that genuinely, I think, also got snubbed for obvious reasons that I easily could have put in this bracket was Nope. I think Nope was a really tight, really great movie. I'll stand by that fact. I think the sound design was insane. I think the performances were insane. It was another tight entry by Jordan Peele. The audience also pitched it. Shout out audience for that one. And again, because it was, kind of straight up horror, Academy said absolutely not. So that's always a bummer. I went for Barbarian instead for kind of my horror pick because I thought it was a bit more fun. The but Nope would have been an equally amazing pick here.
Do you think Nope would have made its way to the finals?
I
Or do
don't
you
know.
think the chaos of Bullet Train would have taken it down?
Which one has Joey King?
All right, moving on. Just another one I'll throw out from myself.
Yeah.
Just a movie I think I had a lot of fun with, sort of similar to the vibe of like Bullet Train was just fun, Barbarian was just fun. The Menu.
Yeah, that was on my short
really
list.
liked
I
The
did
Menu,
like
yeah.
it. I think it stumbled in its third act, which is ultimately what
What you're
shunned
coming
me
away.
away.
Yeah.
But I genuinely liked it. Give me Ray Fiennes being a weird little dude any day of the week. Like,
Oh,
come on.
he's great.
Love Ray
You're not
Fiennes.
that little.
I can beat him up. I'm not saying I want to beat up Ray Fiennes, but like, if
Hey,
he squared
welcome
up to me, I could beat
the
him
next era of influencer boxing.
up. Yeah.
It's just Jake repeatedly fighting Ray Fiennes until he wins.
Until I win. Wow. Yeah, it's gonna be a long creator clash. No, I could take him. I think we have similar builds.
I think he's for sure more built than you,
No.
Jake. I'm sorry. I'm
No.
gonna say it.
No, I think we have similar builds. Don't look up Ray Fiennes jacked. What are you doing? That's obviously gonna sway your.
I mean, it's it's my autofill.
I think he's just like a skinny, tall little dude who's a weirdo. I think that's
Yeah, there are not a lot of hits on photos of him being jacked.
I genuinely think we have the same build. I don't know what your image of me is. That's something we need to discuss off air. But
Jake, you're sickly.
I'm not sickly.
He's consumptive.
Jake
I'm
is
pickly because of
18th
the beginning.
century Victorian woman.
I
His
probably
name. Anyway, ambitious joke.
Jake, Matt and I have seen your brother's Instagram. We
No.
know what you could be.
Just because I'm not as jacked as I could be doesn't mean I'm not a part of the Swole Patrol. Okay. Oh, sorry, Matthew. Do you look confused because you don't know what the Swole Patrol is? Embarrassing.
Major cringe. Imagine not knowing about the Swole Patrol. I have another one.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Oh God, I was ready. I don't have my list.
What?
Oh, man.
I mean, this is one I've talked about a bunch. Weird, the Al Yankovic story.
Yeah, we also had an audience member shout that one out.
I saw, and go you, audience member, you rock. Yeah, I mean, I just loved this movie. I had such a good time with it. So many good jokes. I loved the premise of like doing this like musician biopic movie because there have been so many of them lately, I feel like. And then this one is just like totally flagrantly ridiculous and obscene and funny. And
Yeah.
Are you saying it wasn't true?
it's not. Can you believe it?
Wait,
They didn't tell us that before we watched it.
that's a little weird.
Al Yankovic story.
Dumb. Yeah, I think comedies are definitely overlooked. I think that's a big hump for people as well.
Comedy and horror are like the Academy likes to downplay the genre.
Yeah, and I remember Matthew saying off camera that he does think The Hangover Part 2 should have been nominated for Best Picture during its year.
I thought he said it should have won.
Well, I thought that was about Hangover Part 3.
Oh, could have been.
Yeah.
Big fan of the Hangover.
No, he
movies
hates
over
the
here.
first one, which is a hot opinion.
I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
I got another honorable mention.
No, I'm gonna go next. I think that genuinely, I mean, the past year when I was thinking about all my honorable mentions that I didn't pitch here, a lot of mine were horror movies. I had a very fun time with horror last year. And one of my favorite ones that I watched that I thought at least deserved some recognition was
Skinamarink.
That's also on my list. I was gonna talk about it. But X and Pearl, I think deserve some love just because like they were just very fun. I just love the premise of it. I think Mia Goth did a great performance. I think the first one, X, was just a very tight story and very fun. Maybe it wasn't so much like Oscars and all that stuff, but I do think it showed for me that the horror genre is going in such a fun direction, and I'm here for it. So I really appreciated both those movies, and I'm looking forward to Maxine. Also, the balls of Ty West when shooting X to simultaneously be shooting the sequel, not tell A24, and then when they're done with X, being like, oh, hey, by the way, if you want a sequel, I have it shot already under your budget, is pretty fucking badass. Lucky him that X was such a hit that they like went for it, but pretty badass.
That was going to be like, that's like the one touchstone I'm aware of. As the other horror guy, I have not seen either of these two movies.
Oh, wow.
But I was aware that they both came out within, I don't know, what was it, like 8 months of each other
Like,
in the same calendar year, which is wild.
Genuinely wild.
That
And I thought it was awesome. And so just for that alone, you know me, I love a gimmick with like films and shit. Like they talk about it all the time. So definitely I love that like kind of Hollywood tomfoolery. So I love those. So shout out to those two movies.
A little gimmicky guy.
Yeah.
Okay, I got another one.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Matthew, go for it. You haven't gone in a while.
Yeah. So the Northmen, Viking period revenge piece.
I saw ads about this one in the movie theater.
And then what'd you think of the ads?
You know, it looked good. You know, it looked interesting. Mm-hmm. I feel like it was a movie I was waiting to see on TV at some point.
Come on, it's a Skarsgård. It's a Skarsgård. We support the Skarsgård.
That's true.
Yeah, but I
we
feel like
love our Skarsgårds.
I feel like I don't know. I didn't see the movie. It feels like a movie that I would randomly like see. I'm like at my parents' house watching cable, and it's like
God, the marketing campaign failed this movie.
Flip channels. It's like 15 minutes into the movie, and we start watching. And then it just lasts 4 hours because of the commercials, and it becomes the entire night, you know?
Cable's the worst.
Yeah, cable's the worst. Good thing we have streaming packages now.
I will say, though, like simultaneously, not to drag us in the cable hole, there is something that's kind of nice to just like, I don't know, sometimes have a service pick something for you to watch at times.
Oh, for sure. That rocks.
That's why Matthew texts me randomly and says, hey, can you give me a movie? And I just text him the most cursed thing I could think of.
Yeah, he just keeps sending me Paranorman.
Yeah.
I've seen it 8 to 10 times because of
I keep convincing him that no, it's just a different film named Paranorman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you watched the French version?
The
The visuals were all the same, but I couldn't understand a word of it. It's all French to me.
It's in French.
Love that. Love that so much.
Yeah, but I thought The Northman was pretty good. Yeah, I agree. Marketing
just
not
fucked
so good.
that. Fuck that.
I think it would have been funny if we talked about Avatar: The Way of Water. I'm gonna say it.
Did you have any? Of us see, did you see it?
Thank you.
None of us saw it.
I feel like like in the same way that it was funny to make Matt watch Bullet Train because of Joey King, I feel like it would have been funny to make Jake watch Avatar: The Way of Water.
But here's the thing. I don't unironically hate Avatar. Like, Matthew genuinely enjoys Joey King. I don't like Avatar. That's just torture for me. For Matthew, it's a guilty pleasure. There's no pleasure I get out of the Avatar franchise.
I don't think it's guilty.
How did this end up back at me again?
Because we're good at what we do.
I'm taking the stance. I'm refusing to expand on or explain until we do a Joey King bracket.
Joey King bracket.
Okay. Here's circling back, Jake.
Yeah.
After watching Morbius,
yeah,
would you have rather watched Avatar: The Way of Water?
No.
Yes. Really?
Whoa.
Jake saw the promotional image of the Navi with dreads, and he was like,
I cannot do it. I cannot do it. I would rather have Dr. Michael Mobius. I really would.
Wow.
Would you, like...
That's, like, actually saying something.
Genuinely. If it was, like, you have to watch 100 hours of one of these two films, because I know they're different lengths, which one are you watching 100 hours of?
I mean, that's a little harder, because you'd have to watch Avatar less, because it's an 8-hour movie, for no reason. I'm still picking Morbius. Look...
Upside,
wow.
You get to see Puma Pants has sex
all
like
the time.
90 times.
I get to dissect what... I could be one of those people who breaks down, here's what happens next in the Sony Marvel universe that's falling apart.
Or you could make a 2.5 hour long video essay that's titled something like "Why Morbius Actually Rocks."
Yeah, and I wouldn't.
Or "Why Morbius is a Masterpiece."
Yeah,
or why watch Morbius?
Look, and a lot of people have like,
Please.
And it's not a statement of like I'm gonna prove why. It's a question of like, why did I watch
Why?
Morbius 100 times?
a lot of people have genuinely come up to me and been like actually pleading with me to watch Avatar: Way of Water. Like people who are like, okay, I'm done with the joke, Jake. Like, haha, so funny. Can you please just watch it? And my instinct is still like, no. I just don't want to.
I only heard bad things about this movie. There are people who
Really?
like
I've heard
want
great
you to
things.
watch it.
I have heard.
I've
Really?
only heard good things.
I've heard it's long and it's the same movie.
Yeah, but Matthew, the crowd that you hang out with, let's be honest, come on.
Yeah, they don't like, critical darlings like Everything Everywhere. Instead, they're more like a kind of underground film like Banshees of Inisherin type people.
Right.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say underground film like Avatar: The Way of Water.
a little indie darling that came from nowhere.
a little indie darling that's on track to become the highest grossing movie of all time.
Yeah, I'm sure Avatar: Way of Water is a film. All
I
right.
mean, it is.
So moving on,
Yeah, you want to grab one from our audience?
I do actually, I really do, because one that I really loved, and honestly,
Somehow we spent 20 minutes talking about our own honorable mentions, and we got through like 6.
well, that's good. Usually we like speed through ours, so I'm glad we were passionate about them.
I do think it took us 10 minutes to start talking about our honorable mentions.
I
not
will
so sure.
say, one person's a big dummy. I love our audience, but we gotta smack their hands sometimes. They pitched a movie that came out in 2021.
Ooh, dummy.
And that's The Phantom of the Open.
Yes.
Which, honestly, I remember seeing a trailer for it and I was like, oh, that shit rocked. Like, it looked aggressively sweet. But
I really love the actor in this movie, Mark Rylance. I saw him in 2 Broadway plays, and he is phenomenal.
I saw him in Bones and All, and he was terrifying, and I do not want to be near him at all in my life.
It's a movie about golfing.
No, Bones and All is about cannibalism. But you were close.
Haha, the old switcheroo, Phantom of the Open. This is a movie about golfing.
It is about golfing.
No, that one's about cannibalism.
Nice.
Do you think they purposefully called it that just to confuse people with Phantom of the Opera?
Yes.
I legit saw you type it in the thing, and I was like, is that a typo? I don't think they made a new Phantom of the Opera.
No, that's real.
Yeah, of course. Ambulance. An audience member pitched Ambulance. It was your favorite film?
But that's not how you say it.
LA ants.
Thank you.
LA.
Yeah. Honestly, okay, I will say it's actually a fun time and the camera work is insane in it. No, God, no, Matthew's gonna beat me up. No, what's he doing? What's he doing? He just went to his closet. I didn't even know that was a closet. Oh no! He has an ambulance LA attached. No!
Wow. Huh?
He's repping the brand. Look,
sponsored stream, Ambulance, my official rep.
Look, honestly, the camera work was insane. It did a lot for like stunt work stuff. If you're talking about like, the Mission Impossibles, like the Top Gun, whatever, Tom Cruise, I genuinely think this film it sat really well. Like it was an enjoyable time, and the drone work that they did was really impressive. So I love the pick personally.
I have a vendetta against Jake Gyllenhaal, so I can't stand behind this one.
Yeah, actually, our legal departments advised us that we're really not supposed to talk about any films that Jake Gyllenhaal is in. So, I think we have to cut the ambulance bit here.
Okay,
unfortunately.
Yep, we're gonna have to cut it.
But how about Yahya Abdul-Mateen II?
He's cool.
I mean, you can talk about him, but you can't talk about.
Okay, that's okay. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't.
Yeah, so I know that you're not in on the.
No, they don't let me sit in the meetings anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'd
the
love
100th
to.
episode. Big changes are coming your guys' way in episode 101, audience.
Way to bring the energy back, Matt. That was a weird vibe that we were creating right there.
It really was, and it's no one's fault.
Wait.
This is an audio medium, and I keep doing visual gags.
You ran during a podcast to get an MULAN's hat, and now you're chugging a beer. No, fuck you.
Jake,
fuck this.
Jake, you ran at the very beginning of this podcast to go get pickle liquor.
And we can't see your camera. You could have been running all over the place this whole time, and we wouldn't know. I just don't like it when we fight.
Coming your
then you
your
shouldn't
way,
have brought
audience.
up Jake Gyllenhaal.
Big changes in episode 101. It's no one's fault what happened, but it just is what it is.
Look, if I get a break, I get a break.
I'm gonna move us on. We got another honorable mention. We talked about it earlier. Someone said Miss Harris Goes to Paris. I didn't see that one.
That's like a sweetheart pick. It got nominated for best costuming, and it's literally about this old lady who's like, I haven't lived my life. I'm going to Paris to work on clothes. And it's just this old woman trying on a bunch of clothes.
Like, honestly, yeah, and goes to Dior, which...
Okay, I knew you would know more specifics. Like, of course you would, bougie bitch. You bourgeoisie.
Jake, you just said you didn't want to fight.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, some of us, we interact with hyper luxury brands. That's just the lifestyles we live.
Yeah.
Kidding.
You and I, Matthew.
True, Jake, true.
I also have an MULAN's hat. I didn't run to get it.
I wasn't thinking through the fact that this is an audio medium, so a visual bit isn't going to play off to the audience well, but it is what it is.
But explaining the bit out loud is an audio medium, so I appreciate that.
What I will say, Miss Harris Goes to Paris being someone's favorite movie, very fun.
That's like sweet.
I like that.
I think that's like a wholesome ass pick. Like, I believe them when they say that. Like, there are certain ones when people say like, oh, that was my favorite film. Like, no one's favorite film was 3,000 Years of Longing. I'm sorry. Like, someone pitched it. Sorry, audience member. It was with Tilda Swinton and Idris Elba, and it was visually fun for a little bit, and then the ending was dog shit. That's not your favorite film of the year, man.
But Idris Elba's so handsome.
He's very handsome, and Tilda Swinton, I love her. But Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris, if you tell me that's your favorite film of the year, oof, I stand by you. I believe you.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other...
I'll just speed run some audience ones, because we got to get to our matchup here. Prey is a great one that I loved, revitalizing the Predator universe. Fun fact about that one, I guess this is a spoiler warning for 2 franchises, so... spoiler warning for that. So Ridley Scott wanted to do with Prometheus beforehand, the director of this did not want to market this as a Predator movie and wanted to surprise audiences with it. But the production companies and big producer people got in the way of it. And they're like, it's never going to sell and do well if you don't, which sucks because Prey was a really great movie. Really, really tight movie. Great entry in the Predator franchise. If you like monster movies, I would 100% recommend that from last year. It sucks because it went straight to Hulu streaming, so no one saw it, but it was a very good time. So
it really breathes some new life into the franchise, I think, considering the last entry in the Predator franchise. And
yeah, they've been doing bad.
We don't want to talk about what turns out is the solution to the plot in that film, because I will have a brain aneurysm, I think, on recorded audio if we get into it.
And remember, it's an auditory medium, so it wouldn't look as cool.
You wouldn't even get to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. With that said,
I have one more. The Whale. The Whale is a good movie that I wish I had an excuse to watch.
It was a good movie.
Wish someone had pitched it.
Wait, you didn't see it?
No.
So it is worth watching.
That's what I've heard.
Oh, but
I liked it.
You just want to talk about this? I have trust issues with you, Alex.
Movie,
every time you pitch a movie and talk about it, I just don't know.
Well,
Jake, I have pitched plenty of movies that I haven't watched. I feel like that was my go-to move for the first 6 brackets.
I think it's all of them. I think all of them you do that at least once.
You know what? We can't unpack this right now. The 100th episode, Alex reveals for every bracket, basically, he's pitching movies he hasn't seen.
I do have one more thing.
Yeah.
So normally we do a whole bit of looks like we got an email. We actually did get an email while we were recording this, and there's a link for us to watch.
Wait, I thought we checked beforehand.
Throw this
I know
out.
it came out while we were recording.
I was going to have like this whole big bit of like, hey guys, we've done, the previous 19 brackets. We received an honorable mention from, him, so well by this point, but he didn't get it to us this time. However, somehow
Optimus Prime Rib has cursed me by sending this video to us.
Okay.
It's 13 seconds.
Great. Great.
It's literally just Harrison Ford presenting the Oscar for Best Picture this year, but instead of saying Everything Everywhere All at Once, it bleeps over in like a robot voice and says Transformers Age of Extinction, and then the music from the movie starts playing.
Okay, but my favorite part of that clip is the fact that one of the Daniels,
yeah, the Daniels still stand up and go.
Like, oh my god,
he's so hyped about Transformers winning. He's just really excited.
But it fits with like how that Daniel looks. I don't remember when I don't remember his last name, the white Daniel, but it definitely looks like he would have been very hyped about the Transformers winning. So
I agree with that.
That's
also, it seems like Optimus Prime Rib edited this on his phone in the bathroom. Like, normally he's such a high effort contributor from our audience, but this
I feel like he had a sixth
like
sense this time. It was just like, I need to
the
send
video
this
already
now.
has 20 views, so I don't know what you guys are fucking talking
What?
about. So
how does it have 20 views?
all right, thank you
we gotta get to the
so
matchup.
much, audience, for your honorable mentions. Clearly, we had fun with these ones. We love hearing you guys participate. Some great ones this year. We loved watching movies this past year. It was a great year for movies. Thank you for watching along and participating with us. We will have more opportunities for that. But now, let's crown a winner.
And you can contribute next time we ask for honorable mentions at Tough Cut Pod on social media. That's where we source all these from our audience.
Do it. We also table, but we're not going to tell you where we table.
Yeah, it's a secret.
It's a secret.
Anyway, our finale matchup, the big one of the year, the Tough Cutie Award, the tough, whatever the hell we call it, the third biggest award show in Hollywood. It all ends tonight.
Evil dies tonight.
On one side of the bracket, we've got Everything Everywhere All at Once. On the other, we've got Barbarian. Jake, do you want to lay those out for us?
Everything Everywhere is about laundry and taxes. Barbarian's about spooky Airbnb. Let's fight.
Okay, Everything Everywhere is about so much more than laundry and taxes. It makes me so mad that you limited to that. Like, I get it. We're running short on time.
Generational trauma, family trauma, laundry, taxes, hot dogs.
It is the story. It is the story of a daughter tearing the universe apart to find a version of her mother that understands her, and a mother tearing the universe apart to understand her daughter, and a father trying to get in between and prove that you don't need to tear the universe apart to do either. And that's beautiful, asshole.
Via the power of
God, I'm gonna vote for Barbarian so fucking hard. Okay.
I've come around that this film is a movie about care ethics.
Jesus Christ. We're not going to make our
that matter
time limit.
Most to you.
We're not going to make our... He's starting to talk about fucking
deemed
ethics.
by the emotional depth of them. Either way, I can't give the whole dissertation on care ethics and where it slots and Everything Everywhere, because we got to talk about comparing these movies. We got to talk about Barbarian.
Does it make you like the movie more?
I think it has a more coherent philosophy.
I was going to say, because I wanted to have a conversation about it, Matt, I think like the idea of this like nothing matters philosophy, like I get that that's in the movie, but I think that is not inherent, because I think at the end of the day, like the daughter like reaching out, like what she is doing, her whole purpose in the movie is that she's like trying to find the mother, right? Like, so I don't think,
Yeah, so that's where I'm kind of
landing,
that this is ostensibly a film about the idea that like the strength and depth of our relationships it goes a huge way in terms of like creating the value that people have to us. The premise of care ethics is essentially this idea that like if you're like, oh, would you rather have someone kill your mother or kill this child? And most people, because we have this depth of connection with our mothers, are like, I would prefer they don't die, but like I don't have a great moral reason to justify that. And that is essentially like the sort of defining characteristic here, is that like these are people that care so deeply for each other in such a transcendental way that like it goes beyond our universe. And I think the scene that resonates with me in regard to that is the Kiha in the wealthy and famous alternate universe. I don't know how to name
It's
these universes.
the In the Mood for Love, like that was their
Yes, yeah. In the line that in another life I would be very happy to just do laundry and taxes with you. You know, we are defined by the people that we care about, and like that I think is the more coherent philosophy this movie kind of lands on, rather than strictly being a film about nihilism. So yeah, we can put a pin in that one.
It's interesting because both these films, I feel like they have a message and they're very creative about portraying their message, but it couldn't be like they're very different messages they're trying to convey. Also, up top, just speaking about it right now, content warning for Barbarian. If you're going to be watching Barbarian this far along, there are suggestive mentions of sexual assault. So please be mindful of that if you plan on watching Barbarian along with us. But speaking of Barbarian and kind of diving into its message about that, you know, we kind of talked about it a lot in the last one, and that's kind of what motivated it to get this far in the finals. We kept on unlocking more and more about Barbarian and its purposeful treatment of, you know, men who just get away with stuff or are labeled as like things, and how it, you know, they can get away with those things, or it results in like bad shit happening for other people, primarily women. It's a very just... Both of these are genre films, right? So they're very creative on how they're doing their points, and that's why I love both of them. And I just wanted to also give credit, because we were just talked about like the ethics and all that of Everything Everywhere, but Barbarians, just the way they do it in a horror movie, and horror is all about like talking about the human condition in a really, really, you know, interesting way. And that's why I think I like it so much, because it's such a well-crafted story. But as opposed to which one's more well-crafted, I really don't know where I stand with it, because, yeah, what do you guys think?
I mean, I think going into Barbarian, like, I really enjoy the environmental storytelling in Barbarian and how that contributes to theme. We talked about it a little bit last time of like the camera work and stuff, of how like the camera follows AJ into the tunnel differently than it follows
Tess.
Yes. But like the stuff with the bell in the hallway underground, like that's never discussed, but it leaves it there for you to like think about, you know, what does that mean? Like, why is that there? Like, why would there be a bell to the guy's room, you know? And it just like, it makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a movie that is very happy to show rather than tell. Which I actually think is something that both of these films do pretty well.
Absolutely.
Unlike Morbius, that was obsessed with telling rather than showing.
Jesus Christ.
Just as an example that was in this bracket.
Mm-hmm.
But it specifically in relation to Barbarian, for a horror movie, it is well aware of this fact that the most horrific things that technically take place in this film are implied rather than shown.
Absolutely.
Which, especially as it kind of ties into narratives relating to gender,
Mm-hmm.
I think is like obviously a pretty sensible choice, but also just like ties into the movie's themes overall, I think. Getting at some of what you were kind of letting on about, and what Alex you're touching on with like framing of AJ and the villain from what, I don't know, the 1970s. Yeah, but as far as this question, as I'm starting to ramble, of which of these films is better crafted, I think they're both remarkably intentional. I think that's something we haven't talked a lot about when it comes to Everything Everywhere All at Once, and something that is very apparent. This movie's editing is wild.
It's
the story behind it's wild.
Yeah, to my understanding, obviously feel free to chime in with more context. It was like 5 people on their editing crew
that
like
learned from YouTube videos on the, while they were doing it. They are not editors. The guy, when he accepted the Oscar for best editing, he's like, guys, this is my second thing. It was the white guy who accepted it, but anyway, but no, I it's very impressive, and it's one of those things, if any of my fans here at the Tough Cut know, I love a story, especially if you got purpose and intention behind, and just having a crew that really believed in this thing and just did it, and it's such a filmmaker's dream to do that and to have that with the editing. I will say it's hard for me because I actually do like the editing in Barbarian a lot, and I get scared of the trap that a lot of people fall into with editing, where is it the better editing because we see more of it, or is it better because it was like more like reserved, I guess is the only word I can come up with. And that's kind of where I'm at with both these, just also in general. So I'm actually really glad you brought up editing. Is Everything Everywhere genuinely has everything everywhere. It is a hodgepodge of things I love, and I think they do it so beautifully, they craft it so well, they edit it so well, it all comes together in such a swirling basket of emotions. But I think what Barbarian's doing is very particular in a very still interesting and good way. So I don't know if it's more is more, because the less is more in Barbarian with stuff too. So like that's why I try to make sure that my bias isn't there of like, is it just because I'm noticing it more because it's more in my face, or do I like the subtleties of the other thing more?
Yeah.
I think it's a really good point. I know it's something we talked a little bit about during our Oscars predictions, specifically relating to editing, but I also think it ties back to our conversation in relation to Banshees versus Everything Everywhere. The nature of being, everything everywhere, you're given a lot more opportunities to do a lot more different types of things, be that sort of like the rapid cutting through various universes that have different sets of physicality associated with their performances, to different sets of like visual flair, to different sets of camera work. I think it's a really, really good point that we need to make that acknowledgement, especially in relation to, we've talked a ton in regards to Barbarian, how like its use of very, very specific and intentional framing is so impressive to us. I think relatedly, the editing work that goes into like the experience of how those shots are, like the camera work is one piece of that. Editing for sure plays into it as well.
Yeah.
And I think it's really well
especially
done.
for a horror movie, you have to edit like purposely. That whole first section is edited like a stereotypical like horror movie, and then you get Justin Long's editing, like, and it's completely different. The pacing's completely different. The tone's completely different.
It's meant to be a little funnier.
Yeah.
Like the film is like its package in totality is communicating different things through its editing, cinematography, sort of all of those pieces. And I feel like Barbarian has just become a film over the course of this bracket I have become so consistently impressed by how it handles all of those pieces. I've like really talked myself into, from sort of where I was at the start, where I was like, I have kind of a lot of these concerns, but I'm like, actually, I think we've started to build like a really coherent, narrative when it comes to why it's like that.
Yeah,
Totally.
It's hard. It's hard because I think both of these films, the more you talk about them, the more like gold and love you can find. And that just means they're both really good films. I mean, like they made it to this finals for a reason.
It's a good year for movies.
Good year for movies. Alex, I want to hear you more. Yeah, what do you talk to us?
I've been enjoying listening to what you guys got going on. I think like it's hard because I think there's another aspect of these movies that is like affecting how I feel about them, but it almost is like inverted also. And so here's what I mean. I feel like you guys mentioned horror is like typically not recognized at all, right?
Right.
And so, like Barbarian, of course, was not recognized at all this year. But I think, it was a phenomenal movie. It felt very like quiet but intentional. It was very, like funny, but it was like serious in its construction, right? I feel like besides the like mommy milkers part at the very end, like it was largely like they weren't just throwing shit in there to be funny, right? Like, I feel like pretty much all of it was very intentional. The only thing I feel like that wasn't like that necessarily, that was like just because like, oh, it'd be really funny and awesome if she did this, was like her breaking through the wall at the end for kind of no reason. But compared to Everything Everywhere, where like they did so many like cheeky dumb jokes, like there's a part where when Stephanie Sue is like cycling through the different weapons in her hand, one of the things it turns into is an Oscar. Like they did so many just like cheesy, funny, like silly things, like reaching above whatever like they might have thought this movie could be. And then of course it goes and wins all the awards at the Oscars. Like, I think for being so silly and having so many like silly moments like that, it is so fascinating that it then went to go and win.
It's amazing.
So many awards.
Everywhere.
I'm so proud of that movie, and that's another thing, like the pride that I feel for Everything Everywhere, because now it's won all the things, so now we could be like, oh, but it already got its awards. This kind of movie does not win all the time. Like, that's what's so remarkable about it. That's why I still pitched it. This kind of movie does not win, and it's capturing the hearts of people, and that's why I want to fucking root for it. Like, it's awesome. I love this movie. And so
it's incredible.
Like,
we have what is ostensibly a film about the immigrant experience, about generational trauma, that has like that is just irreverent and goofy, but also extremely heartfelt. It had the butt plug battle. Like, that was the film the Academy Awards said was the best picture of 2022. That's insane.
I think like we haven't talked about it very much, the like specifics of the weird things in this movie. But like the scene where it's just the rocks sitting in the like cliff landscape is so beautiful. The dialogue in it is so good. And then the way they like break that apart by having Michelle Yeoh's rock turn and have googly eyes and like move is incredible. Like, the way that it just like breaks the rules that it sets is so good.
And I think another thing, just last one that I want to say with that, because we really need to vote, is I think that was a scene that was so beautiful to experience in a movie theater. It's one of those scenes where all of a sudden you realize, oh shit, I'm sitting with a bunch of people watching this thing. And it's like that experience you're like watching. It was like so amazing. And it's the same way you feel with horror. When I was watching Barbarian in a packed theater, oh my God, the genuine shock and joy and laughter, like, it was insane. So both these are great movie experiences too, which is like insane. You love that. And you love to see it after we're like, still trying to heal from the pandemic and, still trying to get out there and watch these movies. It's just amazing. I love both of them, but we have to vote. So let's do it.
Start us off.
No.
Okay, I'll go. I'm going for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think there is something, we like pride ourselves on, picking movies that aren't very recognized. But with all of that said, I think Everything Everywhere all at Once deserves all the recognition it's getting. I think it's a phenomenal movie, and I would watch it 1,000,000 times.
I am, against all odds, also going to vote for Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Against all odds.
Against all odds. Well, because usually here I would vote for Barbarian. I want to champion horror. I want to champion all this stuff, but there's just something about this movie, man. I want to give it everything, even if it's already gotten everything. So
yeah. I've talked a lot of Big Smack, critical darling. I'm the, so indie and underground. But I'm also going to vote for Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think that Barbarian is a truly spectacular film, but so is Everything Everywhere. And the multitude of things that this movie can be compared to and talked about in like the context of is just so impressive to me. So with that, Everything Everywhere All at Once wins our Tough Cutie Award. We'll be mailing it to the Daniels.
Mm-hmm. Well, they already won for Transformers, so that's embarrassing.
That's true. As soon as we find where their P.O. box is. With that said, if you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to share it with someone that you care about.
Follow us on social media at Tough Cut Pod. Next bracket is a special surprise. You're gonna figure it out real quick. I promise.
Why do you have to be the center of attention, Alex? What the?